Hey everybody, welcome to Do You Believe on Paranormal Zone TV. I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. And for those who are joining us for the first time, if you would please subscribe to my channel, I'd appreciate it. Don't forget to give us a like. And everybody, I am so pleased and so honored to have my dear friend Andrea Perron come back on the show with me. So everybody, let's please give Andrea a warm welcome. Yay! Hi, Andrea.
Hi, darling. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. And guess what? This is show number 6. Did you know that?
I know, and the next one will be Lucky 7, although they've been all very lucky for me. You're the first big name that I ever did an interview with, and you did so much to further our story and let people know about the books. And I was interviewing with you before the Conjuring even came out. I mean, it was a real blessing in my life to find you and to love you the way that I do. We haven't even met in person yet, but you feel like a sister to me. We talk all the time. You're just always there, and I appreciate you more than words can possibly express.
Oh, thank you, Andrea. I love you. And everything's in purple. I'm even wearing a lavender shirt for you, and the backgrounds all have purple in them. It's just for you. She loves purple.
I have my purple skirt.
Okay, now I have to tell everybody. Andrea sent me a message and she says, "Okay, I'm ready. Let's do it. Let's do it again." I said, "Okay." And I said, "So what do you want to talk about?" She wouldn't answer me. So I sent her another message. I said, "Well, should I put certain pictures up?" And she sent me a couple of pictures she wanted me to use. And then I said, "Well, is there anything else that I should be putting up?" Hoping she would tell me what she's going to talk about. No, she wouldn't share that with me. So, okay, Andrea, what do you want to talk about tonight? It's your forum. Go for it, girl.
Well, let me put some lip goop on. I'm getting warmed up for this. I'll tell you, one of the things in my life that has changed dramatically in the last few years has been my knowledge of extraterrestrial beings. And this is not a belief system. This is knowledge. And as you well know, there is a quantum leap between the two. You know, it's fine to believe anything you want to believe. You know, if you're believing in something that's ethereal, or you're believing something that's invisible, or you just have faith in something that you've been told exists, whether or not you've ever had legitimate proof of that or not. And then it is quite another thing to have knowledge. And to me, there is absolutely nothing more important to humanity, to this planet, than to make contact with our galactic family, those who have come vast distances. I'm sure you're familiar with the great Dolores Cannon, who passed away about a year or two ago. She was a psychotherapist for years and years, for 40 years. And what she did was, when she first started, of course, this wasn't even on her radar. And then consequently, she wrote, I don't know how many books Miss Cannon wrote, but she discovered through the people that she was working with that there were a lot of abductees that were coming to her. And with their permission, she began to chronicle their experiences. And in so doing, she came to some conclusions. And the last book that she wrote prior to her death, and the last public statements that she made prior to her death, were regarding the vast influx of extraterrestrials to the planet. Now, I don't call them aliens, and the reason that I don't is because they're no more alien to this planet than we are. They have been coming and going from here for an extremely long period of time. There's a great deal of compiling evidence that they have had a lot to do with our genetic makeup and our evolution as a species. There are many people who are very learned in this topic who really do believe that we are a great experiment gone awry, and that they have, there's evidence that people like myself, blue-eyed and green-eyed people, did not even exist on this planet prior to the last ice age. This is genetic manipulation, just genetic alteration, and that basically they've intermingled some of their DNA with our DNA to make us what and who we are now, which I think goes a long way toward explaining why some of us can see things interdimensionally and some of us cannot.
Andrea, do you think that they created us then? That they did create us?
No, I don't think that they created us, because a number of the races that routinely visit make references to prime creator.
Oh.
So they have a belief system similar to our own, that there is a God that created them. The vast majority of the races that have been visiting this world are humanoid. They are, 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes, 2 this, 2 that. They have they're very similar to us in many respects. There is also a great deal of evidence that's been compiled that there are a number of races that literally integrate with us because they look so much like us that they pass as Homo sapiens.
Now, Andrea, I know we've talked about this several times, and for those of you who may not have seen the last show that Andrea aired with me, I do have a playlist of all her interviews, and they are on my front page, and I can send you the links to those. It would be really awesome if you would listen to her last show, because that's where we got into these interdimensional beings, aliens, whatever. But Andrea, for those who may be joining for the first time and don't know your background, would you tell them a little bit about it and how you got involved in these extraterrestrials?
When I was, I believe that I told you this during our last show, but when I was a teenager living at the farm, which of course we had all the spirits at the farm, and everybody knows, I think everybody knows, that my series of books, House of Darkness, House of Light, is actually the true story behind the fictionalized version that was depicted in The Conjuring. But one of the things that I learned as a youngster growing up at the farm was not only that ghosts and spirits existed, I learned that there are races that exist beyond the realm of our three-dimensional world. And the first thing that happened to me that I recall, and I always qualify that, the first thing that I recall is being 13 years old, and for some reason being out on the front, in the front yard at the farm, all by myself. And that never happened. There were just so many of us, and we had so many friends, big family, kids coming and going. There was always stuff happening. And I remember it being an absolutely splendidly beautiful day. And the sky as clear blue as it could possibly be, and just feeling overwhelmed at that moment, standing in the front yard, which was expansive. I mean, hundreds of feet in both directions. It was just a huge yard. And all of a sudden, the sky seemed filled with what looked like multicolored rainbow cotton balls. I'd never seen clouds like that before. I didn't know what caused it, where they suddenly came from. The sun was setting behind me. It was just before twilight. It was absolutely lovely out. And I'm thinking, okay, these clouds of, where did they come from? But it must be the sunlight on the clouds that's causing this. And I looked up. My favorite 2 words, look up.
Oh.
And in so doing, I saw over my head, I saw a flotilla of ships passing over the farm. And they were, I would say, less than 10,000 feet. And at first I saw a whole bunch of, just a whole bunch of little ships that seemed to, they were all in forms that were geometric shapes, all of them. And then I saw this massive ship, and it came to a point on the front, but it was so wide, it literally blocked out the sun, and all of these other ships were around it. It was a whole flotilla of ships, and it seemed like they were close enough to touch. I mean, at 10,000, 15,000 feet, I don't know how far up they were. All I remember was that day, everything changed for me. Everything. And I became, it took probably a minute or so for them to pass over. And I didn't know until decades later that people up and down the eastern seaboard, all the way to Maryland or Virginia, saw this flotilla of ships, and then they cut across the Atlantic Ocean and made a little tour of Europe. And when the Royal Air Force decided to scramble jets to go after them, this whole entire flotilla of ships, thanks Ted, just disappeared up over the Arctic Circle. They were on radar and everything, and they just, zoom, they were gone. In a split second, they were gone. And, this troubled and upset a lot of people. The reports started flooding in. Everybody was told, no, it's your imagination. No, it's, there was nothing about what I saw that was even remotely a weather balloon. I am sick to death of our government and governments around, but particularly ours. As a citizen of this country, I have demanded for quite some time full disclosure from our government, the United States Air Force, the Navy, whoever has this information. But anyway, I didn't tell anybody in my family about this for a while, because we were dealing with ghosts and spirits in our house that were wreaking havoc. And I could not bring myself to take something else to my mother, if that makes any sense. I just couldn't do it to her. and my mind was so blown by what I had seen that I needed to process it in the same way. I mean, it made the whole thing with the ghosts seem like child's play compared to what I witnessed that day. And it changed the way I thought. It expanded my mind in ways and into realms that I didn't know existed. I lecture a lot, and one of the things that I lecture about is I try to dispel fear in people, because what I keep telling them is this is not a new reality. This is an old reality with a new awareness. Our awareness has evolved, not the reality. Nothing about our reality has changed. They have been here for millennium. They are integrated into our species. They have affected change in our species genetically. And that's why I always used to say, if I've got the sight, if I can see multidimensionally, then everybody can develop that. If there's one psychic on the planet, then everybody has that ability. And I don't think I've had to amend my thinking on this, because I don't think that everybody can see what I see. I really don't.
I think you're right. I think you're right about that. Now, Andrea, I remember the last time we were talking that you were communicating on a daily basis.
Yes.
Are you still doing that?
Are we still doing that? And then some. Yes. I have a bit of an agreement with them, and that is that I seem to be, and I'm not sure I understand what's going on here yet. I'm really not sure I understand, but I seem to be a conduit in some way for them. Mm-hmm. When a lot of people come to me, whether it be through private messages or, I meet them at events, and they say to me, teach me how to be in touch with them. Teach me what I need to know so that I can learn and I can reach out to them. And I do. And when somebody contacts me and says, I want to have an experience, what should I do? I let them know that this particular individual wants to have an experience of them. And without fail, it happens.
No way.
Yeah.
Andrea, do you think you're a part of a bigger part of an agenda then?
I have told them flat out, I have no fear of them, none. The feeling that I have regarding the extraterrestrials that I am in contact with, and I don't even know how many races, I don't know, but contact is a very broad, expansive word. I have conscious contact all the time with extraterrestrials, but I do not know which race they belong to. All I know is the ones that I'm communicating with are as benevolent gets. Mm-hmm. That they are absolutely here to help us. And what Dolores Cannon said, so I'm going back full circle to her now, what she said before her death was, they're coming in droves to Earth because not only are we on the verge of either destruction or salvation, and we're on the precipice of destruction or salvation. We are. And that's a big deal. We have almost destroyed our ozone layer. We are killing our planet. We're the only species on this planet that fouls its own nest. Climate change, we've still got 50% of Congress that thinks it's something that got made up. And how many of them are creationists that think that the earth is 6,000 years old? These people are too ignorant to live, let alone rule. And I'm stunned. I'm absolutely stunned. You remember the night, right after the 2014 election, when I had a complete meltdown, was feeling absolutely hopeless about, and then I had people like Paola Harris say, no, honey, this had to happen. If it didn't have to happen, it would have happened another way. We had to take a giant step backward in order to gain the forward momentum. It's almost like when you lean back and, ready, set, go. Well, she said to me, that's ready, set, go. The 2014 election was ready, set, go. It energized, it mobilized people in this country in a way that nothing else could have. And look at what's happened in this country over the last week in terms of positive, progressive change in our country. I mean, I can't remember a week in my lifetime when so many things happened, especially dealing with our Supreme Court. So there are a lot of really good things that are going on. We are coming into an age of enlightenment. We are in the age of Aquarius. It's not coming anymore. It's here. The Mayans were right. Their calendar went until December 21st of 2012. And that was it. because that was, and everybody's, oh, the sky is falling, the earth is ending, it's the end of the world, because the Mayans calendar ended on that date. Well, in a lot of ways, Noreen, it was the end of the world. It was the end of the world as we knew it. We are going to progressively, over these coming years, make a shift that is so life-altering for every human being on this planet that we won't recognize how life used to be. We will cease being three-dimensional, five-sensory Homo sapiens. It's already happened for a lot of us. It already has. Yeah. But there are many more that we will help guide through and dispel the fear. The conscious contact, the messaging that I am receiving, the contact that is occurring is multilateral, not unilateral. It's a multi-level experience. Do I have conscious recollection of actually shaking the hand of an extraterrestrial, being in physical contact? No, I don't. That doesn't mean it hasn't happened. It does mean that I don't remember it if it did. They do that for our own mental health. They do that so that we aren't so freaked out that we implode in ourselves emotionally and psychologically. I am ready for it. I want it. But contact comes in many, many different forms. And what's been happening for me in the last few months is that not only have I become a conduit, I have a whole group. We do group sighting sessions several times a week. I have whole groups of people that on just a Facebook feed. Are you guys ready? I'll go out and find out where they intend to manifest the most tonight. I'll be back in 15 minutes. I'll let you know. I go outside, I make my contact, I see my light show, which is unbelievable. Vessels flying through the sky. I'm like, why doesn't everybody see this? My father sees it, my friends see it, people that I have with me see it, but not everybody sees it. And so I'll find out where they intend to make themselves manifest at any given time, and then I'll come back in and hop on Facebook and tell everybody at once, go look in the southeastern sky tonight. That's where I'm seeing the most activity. But I'm telling you that when I go outside during the broad daylight or the middle of night, it doesn't matter when, the sky is on fire. For the last 8 or 9 months, I have been seeing what I describe as the light grid. They have come in droves because we are, according to them, the greatest show going on in the universe right now. We're it.
We are a show. We are a show.
We're the show. We're the show. They have ringside seats around this planet to see if we are going to self-destruct or we are going to ascend and evolve. I'm coming squarely down on the side of ascension. There are millions of people. I am one of millions of people on this planet who are having conscious contact with extraterrestrial beings. I am one, and in that process, thoughts are things, and when you're thinking about something, you're manifesting. And so when I'm taking those, George and I on our show on A World Awakening, we talk about throwing pebbles in the pond and watching the concentric circles go out beyond that point of impact. And I told him a few months ago, after a particularly stunning encounter that I had, I said, George, I'm not coming to the show with pebbles anymore. I'm coming with boulders. Mm-hmm. And bless his heart, he's like, well, how do they fit in your pocket? I'm like, I've got big pockets. I know now. I've said to you, honey, I have always felt like such a misfit on this planet. I must have looked into the sky 500,000 times in my life and said, what am I doing here? Why? Why was I sent here? I don't belong here. I don't fit in. I'm different than everybody else.
Right.
And I am so disgusted by what I see happening on this planet. The murder and the mayhem and the pillaging and the raping and the oh my God, I've just, it blows my mind. Man's inhumanity to man, woman, and child blows my mind. I can't even verbalize how distressing it is to me to see the way human beings treat other human beings. And I have many times asked to be removed. Take me now. Take me now.
You've asked the extraterrestrials to take you?
I've asked God to take
you. Andrea, with your communication that you have, do you think that, have you ever asked them to take you to their planet?
Yes, I actually have. I have traveled.
No.
I have traveled. I have and I don't know who I was traveling with. I don't know who it was.
Oh my God.
I have had face-to-face encounters. I have not actually, to my recollection, I always qualify it. To my recollection, I do not recall actually embracing or holding the hand of an extraterrestrial. But I have had face-to-face contact on the computer. I have witnesses to that effect. I have had contact in the skies. Not a week ago, I had an orb. Imagine the brightest, deepest, richest golden light that you can imagine. Just imagine it, and now picture it the size of a softball. Enter into my yard and communicate with me for 20 minutes until my brain was so overloaded that I was exhausted. And I thanked them very much for coming, and I told them I needed to go to bed, and they left.
Wow. Now, with your father,
bless his heart. I didn't know what he was getting into when I get down here. He did not know. And my mother, bless her heart, when I'm up in Villa Rica, Georgia, which is where I lived for the last 7 years before a couple of months ago I moved down here to my dad in Winter Garden, Florida. And the reason that I did was because Christine, my sister, is selling her farm. And the only way that she could sell Little Stepping Stone Farm was to get all my crap out of the house. Because our house looked like something between an antique shop and a library had exploded in it. Thousands of volumes of books between her, my mother, and myself. The three of us lived together there for 7 years. There was no room at the inn, and she needed to, paint walls and get the house prepped to sell it. So my father was very anxious for me to come down here. But I've been back and forth, a lot. It's only a 7-hour drive for me. That's no big deal. And so, and my mother misses me terribly. Even my sister Christine misses me. And I talk to them all the time, It's like, I thought she'd be well rid of me. And she's like, when you coming home? I'm like, I live down here now, Chris, but when you coming home? But every time that I go, the extraterrestrial beings that I am in contact with follow me everywhere, all the time. It does not matter if I'm on the beach in Florida, if I am in the skies over Colorado, if I am in San Antonio, Texas, if I am in New England, if I'm in Villarica, Georgia. It doesn't matter where I am, no matter where I go, there they are. I feel very protected, deeply loved. I feel a sense of love from them that I have never felt from another human being. Because I don't think we know how to love the way that they know how to love. They bring the light into my life. They give me a sense of belonging. I don't scream and complain anymore. I'm a misfit. I don't belong here. Take me away. Call down. Take me away. I don't. Because I realize now, over the last few years, that everything that has happened in my life brought me to this station, brought me to my purpose, my self-awareness as a conduit, my self-awareness as someone who can openly, lovingly communicate with them to such an extent that I can mitigate the shock for millions of people. A lot of people know who I am now, and even though a lot of my followers hang in the background and don't even try to communicate with me, thinking that I'm just unattainable, which is not true. I mean, anybody can get in touch with me anytime, pretty much, even if they have to wait a little bit till I get their message. But, I'm completely open with everybody that needs to find me, needs to read these books, needs to learn to think differently. That's the great value in our story. You well know it's not a series of scary stories in the books. House of Darkness, House of Light is a spiritual journey with a supernatural twist. It's about expanding the human mind and coming to terms with the fact that we are not just three-dimensional, five-sensory beings. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, and that death is simply a transition to another state of being. It's not the end. It's not ashes to ashes, dust to dust. In the end is the beginning. Edgar Allan Poe was absolutely right. And many, many other fine, great writers through the course of history, the metaphysicians, Emerson, Thoreau, Whitman, Hawthorne, on and on and on. I mean, going back to Aristotle, Plato, the great philosophers of this time and throughout the ages have said consistently, death is not the end, it's the beginning of a whole nother journey. And now I know that, and I've known that from the age of 12. In spite of my knowledge of that, Maureen, there have been multitudes of times that I have been so disgusted, so put off, so disheartened, felt so hopeless about the human race that I didn't want to be here anymore. I had this argument just the other night with George on the show. And he's like, you invented rose-colored glasses. I said, well, perhaps I did. But if I didn't think the way that I did, if I didn't feel so hopeful and so optimistic about this ascension, this transition in human consciousness, this wave of change that is happening not only around our country, but around the world, if I didn't have that, I wouldn't want to be here. Not 1 minute more. Not 1 minute more.
Andrea, have they ever given you any, have they ever told you anything that was going to happen in our world, whether it be a tragic incident, something happening, and then it did come true, and that proved to you that these are extraterrestrials?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
In terms of predicting things,
Yeah.
I have my own sense of things. I felt, God bless my mother. She called me an hour before the shootings in the church in Charleston, South Carolina. And she said, do you feel it? And I said, yes, honey, I do, but I don't know where. And she said, what's it have to do with? I said, guns and hate.
Oh.
And she said, I said, Mom, try to fix where it is. Try to, maybe if we can get a fix on where it is, we can warn people. But she couldn't place it, and neither could I. The day before the tsunami hit Japan, hours before the tsunami hit Japan, both of us felt it coming. We knew it was coming. We didn't know where. These things all happen with purpose and reason. Even the bad things happen with purpose and reason. And I do not, even though I have a very strong sense of something, I can't pinpoint exactly where, what, who, why, and how, because I'm not supposed to, because I'm not supposed to do anything, nor is anyone else supposed to do anything to interfere in that natural process.
Oh, really?
And that, boy, so I sure do wish I had a crystal ball sometimes. Would I have loved to be able to call the South Carolina State Police and say, listen, get to Mother Emanuel right now and stop what's about to happen there. If I could have, Noreen, I would have, but I couldn't, because I couldn't place it. I felt the disturbance in the force coming. I felt it before it happened, over and over and over again. Before 9/11, I walked around like a zombie for about a month before 9/11 happened, and so did my mom. And both of us were talking to each other every day. What's happening? What's going on? What's going to happen? Do you feel it? And then boom, there it was, and the whole world changed. And there was no way to know anything. I didn't know a location, I didn't know a state, I didn't know a culprit, I didn't know a means of destruction, I didn't know any of that because I wasn't supposed to. And you know what? Neither did any other psychic or medium on this planet, because they weren't supposed to. Because that was supposed to happen.
Really? So when you were talking with the, I don't know what you want me to call them, other dimension.
Well, they don't care if we call them aliens, as long as we don't call them late for dinner.
Oh! Thank you. That's cute.
I don't like to call them aliens because that seems like it's got kind of a negative connotation to it. And they're beautiful beings. They're light beings. I had one standing right in my office. I saw peripherally just a week or so ago. It just manifested right beside me at the desk, and it wouldn't even let me turn my head to look at it, but my whole side of my office right here,
here. Oh my God.
Was just lit up like golden, oh God. I don't even know how to describe it, honey.
My God.
It was right there. It was just right there. But I was, I'm typing away and I'm working with George on the book and I'm going, great guns with him and I felt it. I saw it peripherally, but I never turned my head to look directly at it. And I don't know why. I mean, I could have. There was nothing stopping me from doing that. It was an extra dimensional experience. It was in this dimension, and I was in its dimension simultaneously for a few moments.
Well, how come they don't want you to see them?
It's not that they don't want me to see them. They make their presence known. I've been face to face with a being that was humanoid that really freaked me out on Skype several years ago. And my friend Susan, who was on the other end of our conversation, she saw the back of his head and I saw his face.
Oh, I remember that.
He interceded in the screen between us. And I kept saying, Susan, do you see it? Susan, do you see it? Do you see it? And she says, I see something. I see something. I said, what do you see? What do you see? And she said, I see the back of a head. I said, I see the front.
Oh, my God.
And then two laser red orb eyes were fixed on my own. And the colors behind him You know, you see I have a background, I've got my Conjuring poster in my books and, you know, all of that. Well, the background behind him were light panels of colors that I'd never seen before, that I didn't know existed. And he was tapping.
Oh, yeah, that's what they do.
Like that. It was just like that. Like he was typing something into a keyboard. And his head was down, and all of a sudden he slowly lifted it up. I know it was a male. I don't know how I know that, because I guess it could have been a female, but that wasn't my sense of it. He was completely jet black. Completely black. No hair, soft, round, egg-shaped face, 2 laser red orb eyes.
Oh my God.
And they latched into me. And meanwhile, I've got Susan in the back going, Annie, are you still there? Annie, are you still there? What am I seeing here? You know, and I couldn't even answer her. I could not even respond to her. I couldn't take my eyes off his eyes. And I don't know what he was telling me, but I didn't feel threatened. I didn't feel frightened, but I thought my brain was going to explode in my skull.
Oh my God.
I felt pressure in my head that I couldn't, and sharp, high-pitched noises coming into my ears. And there are many people who are ufology researchers who say you were downloaded. You were being downloaded.
Oh my! Downloaded. And oh my God!
I could not yet, because our brains are computers. I was being downloaded, and I could not take my eyes off him. And when I thought my head was going to blow off my shoulders, I started fishing around for the mouse, because I couldn't even divert my eyes down to find my mouse. I couldn't. And so I started fishing around, and I finally found it, and I brought the cursor over, and I disconnected the call.
Oh my God.
And within seconds, my phone was ringing, and it was Susan. What the hell just happened?
God. Oh God. Can they read your mind?
Oh yeah.
Oh, they can read your mind. Okay.
I tell them, you know, when I'm having unsavory thoughts, I tell them to get out of my head. Myself, you know, leave me be. Let me have a little privacy. I'm in constant contact with them, honey. I'm in constant contact with them.
But what do you guys? I mean, what do you talk about?
I sing to them.
No.
I sing to them, and they love it. They love it. All I have to do, I could go grab my father right now and drag him into this office, pull him away from whatever movie he's into, and have him verify for you the fact that I go out in the yard and I sing to them, and they come from every direction. They come from the whole sky lights up. The light grid, it just activates. There's a picture graph paper. You know, people are going to start really seeing this now. They're going to really start seeing this. But picture, like drafting paper, and you know how there's tons and tons of little boxes and tons of little lines, and they all cross over and they make perfect squares. Now imagine that there's a little tiny point of light where there's an intersection between every line on a piece of graph paper that covers the entire planet. We are being light activated. That's why I have so much hope now, because I understand from the Pleiadians, from the Arcturians, from the Venusians, from all these different races that I am in contact with. I went to a planet one night. I was not conscious. I won't call it sleeping, because it wasn't sleeping, but I had gone to bed and closed my eyes. Let's put it that way. And I was taken to a planet that was so beautiful that I really, there are no words in our language to describe it, really. All I know is I was not in a vessel. I was free floating, and I was coming into the atmosphere of a beautiful blue planet. The air was blue, the mist was blue, the landscape was blue. Everything about it was blue, shades of blue. And it was so peaceful and so lovely and hardly even inhabited. It didn't have cities like we have cities, but it had people. And I don't remember much more than that, other than coming into the atmosphere. But I knew when I awakened the next morning that something in me as an individual had awakened and that I had been off planet.
Was that kind of like they say astral projection?
No, I was off planet. Astral projection is something else. I can do that. I can literally make my presence known in a room with someone else by thinking myself there. I have people that I do that with, just for fun.
Really?
Just for fun.
Oh.
But no, that's not what this was.
Oh,
it was something else. It was something different than I had ever experienced before. And it was beautiful, and it was a wonderful experience, and I could breathe the atmosphere just fine. Everything was fine. I remember I had a moment of self-consciousness because I was in my pajamas, and I had a moment of self-consciousness, like, oh my God, I'm flying around the freaking universe, and but somebody had forewarned me, I would have dressed more appropriate, for God's sake. What? Wear a 3-piece suit to bed? What?
That's funny.
But it passed right away. I felt completely accepted. I think that a whole lot more has happened to me than I remember, but I'll tell you something that's been going on, Noreen, that is absolutely fascinating. And I want people who want to contact me to do group sightings, to do astral projection, to take that quantum leap in consciousness with me, to contact me, to do that. I'm public information 101. All you have to do is Google me and find me on Facebook, find me on email, find me here. I'm hither, thither, and yon. But Facebook, being the official home of the paranormal, is my favorite place because everything's so instantaneous. Who would have ever thought the day would come when email was the slow way to be in contact with people? It's...
Hey, they want to know, somebody wants to know if your pajamas are purple.
Yes, they were actually purple. So get them right now and show them in pictures that are purple.
Hey, I want to ask you about the singing again. Okay, well, wait a minute. Okay, so, you talk to them every day. Andrew, what do you know about them? For people like us who've never been in contact with them, never seen one, what are they like? How do they eat? Do they sleep? Do they go to the bathroom? Do they take showers? What is do they have a daily routine? Do they believe in God? Do they have a religion? Do they have church? Do they have doctors? Do they have sicknesses? Do they die from illnesses? How long do they live? How about all those?
So long that you can't wrap your mind around how long they live. They have no disease. They are self-fulfilling prophecies of perfection in terms of what they have mastered to even be able to be here from such vast distances. They have answers for us. They have ways of healing humanity so that there would be no more disease, of powering this world so that it wouldn't cost anybody a dime to have all the power and electricity that they could ever need and ever use. They are miraculous beings, Noreen. Miraculous, and they are pure, unadulterated love. None of them that I have encountered is here to hurt anything or anyone. Now, I think there's a race or two that Paul Hellyer warned us about that look at us more like an experiment. They just look at it. I mean, we're such low vibrational, low intellect beings that they don't really have any qualms about abducting and experimenting on us.
But Andrea, let me ask you, Andrea, if we are such low, if we're on the bottom, why would they want to experiment on us?
Well, I don't know. I think that a lot of it has to do with genetic manipulation. I don't think that, I don't want to say don't trust the grays, but the tall whites are okay. I don't know them all well enough yet to be able to say that. But what I do know is that the ones that I am connected with and contacting, it's a love I've never experienced before. It's a feeling that I can just think of them and I smile from ear to ear. I go outside. They have their favorite songs.
They do? What do you sing to them?
They do. One of my favorites is Gonna Take a Sentimental Journey.
I love that song. Yeah.
Gonna set my heart at ease. Gonna take a sentimental journey to renew old memories.
Awesome.
They love
awesome.
that.
Awesome.
They love that. They come in droves when I sing that to them. Especially part 7. That's the time we leave at 7. And they love the line, I never thought my heart would be so yearny. Why did I decide to roam? Gonna take a sentimental journey home.
Oh,
it's like, okay, all right. They love that. I gotta get a light show when I sing that one. And they have several that I sing Where Is Love to them from Oliver. I sing, what's the one that they love so much? I only sing a couple of bars of it, and the sky gets active. They just love when I sing to them.
Oh my!
And for some reason, and I have a lot of octaves. I have a big range in my singing voice, but I have a tendency to keep it low for them. They seem to be more responsive to that. I think they think it's just. It seems to resonate more, but I'll tell you what, Noreen, they are the light of my life. They are the light of all of our lives, and there is nothing more important, and I don't give a damn who thinks I'm crazy. I don't, because I will be so vindicated so soon that it just doesn't matter. They can say whatever they want. I have a file. A couple of months ago, I said, okay, I need to start taking your pictures. Are you going to allow me to do that? And they said yes, that I could. And I'm compiling a file of my photographs of them that are going to silence every single skeptic on the planet.
Andrea, you mean to tell me you have pictures of them?
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, my God, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Vehicles, vessels all around this property, but it doesn't even matter if I'm here. I went to the beach a couple of weeks ago, Noreen. It's like an hour and a half away. I went to New Smyrna Beach, and I'm out there with the camera. I'm like, Dad, do you see that? Yep. Dad, do you see over there? Yep. Dad, do you see that? No. Let me tell you how I know how to distinguish between their vessels and our terrestrial vehicles.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Probably about 3 months ago, when I first started moving down here, my dad has a big, beautiful home right on Lake Apopka in Winter Garden, Florida. I live in freaking paradise. and it is sky, sky, and more sky. Big, beautiful, beautiful cloud formations coming through all the time. The clouds make themselves right over the lake because they're sucking up from the heat, the moisture out of the lake. And I'm seeing vehicles left and right and sideways. And it wasn't that I wasn't seeing them up in Villa Rica. I was. I've seen many, many things, more things than we would ever have time to discuss. But when I got down here, everything changed. And I didn't know what the difference was. And then I started realizing, as I'm watching these long, white, fuzzy-looking tubular ships flying all around this house, and I was like, what's going on here? And, at first my father would say, well, we're in the flight path of Orlando Airport and International, and Sanford's airport is just up the way a little bit, and, you're probably just seeing an awful lot of airplanes. I said, no, Dad, because this is what happens when I'm looking at an extraterrestrial vehicle. I get this ghosted thing going on in front of my eyes. Like on a computer when you ghost out a phrase that you're going to cut and paste, or copy and paste, and it makes it goes gray, like that. And as I'm looking up into the sky, all of a sudden, I'm looking at a vehicle, and I see in front of my eyes, between my normal sight and the vehicle that I'm looking at, I see this ghosted film, and it has a strand of DNA that runs right through the center of it. At first I thought I was seeing viruses. The first time it happened, I said, oh, Jesus, don't tell me I got another runner in my eye. Oh no. Those little viruses that you get, and you have to, it's like, oh no. I was doing so well for so long, and I really did. I thought it was that, and then it kept happening. Every vehicle that I was seeing, it kept happening. It kept getting stronger, and I talked to my mom about it, because my dad said maybe they're sucking any nasty viruses out of you so that when you have physical contact with them, you won't contaminate them, which I thought was a perfectly logical explanation for what I was seeing. And then I told Mom what was happening, and she said, no, you're seeing DNA strands. They're activating your actual brain. They're activating you. They're activating your ancient memory. And that I realized she was the one that was right. There's nothing that I have in my body that's going to contaminate them.
Yeah, I thought about that.
They're zapping me. They're zapping me with light. Sparks will fly. I had an interesting experience last November. George and I went to Roswell, Georgia to do did I tell you about this already?
No.
It's very interesting.
Go ahead.
We did, Joe and Diana Avina do the Roswell Ghost Tour, which I highly recommend to anyone. Not only do they have lectures in this fabulous old building that they use, but then they do a ghost tour of the town, take you to all the different haunted buildings in town, and then they'll go do an investigation in what's the public house there, which is, like a 200-year-old pub that's been in operation since this was a colony, and not here, Georgia. But anyway, George had driven all day long to get up there. We went and did our lecture together. Then we did an investigation till like 2 o'clock in the morning. Everybody had a wonderful time. It was great. The poor man was dead on his feet. He was the walking dead. He was so tired. So by the kindness of our gracious hosts, we stayed with them at their home, which is lovely, by the way, right in Roswell. And we got back to the house, and Joe broke out the Jägermeister, and the boys were, having their little nightcap, and Diana and I were sitting at the table drinking tea like civilized women do. And, and finally, George just looked at, oh my God, I'll never forget the expression on his face. He was so tired. He says, I've got to go to bed. I said, go to bed. But I was wired for sound. I was just so wired. It's like I don't know what was going on with me. My energy was just weird. You know, I couldn't even touch any of the equipment that we were using that night for the investigation because I was setting it off.
Oh my God.
I just couldn't touch any of it. The K2 meters, the light meters, the spirit box, the everything. I couldn't touch anything because I was literally interfering with the electronics, with my presence.
God.
My watch had died. I always short things out and kill batteries and stuff like that anyway. I swear to God, I'm the one responsible for my computer problems, ultimately, I think, because I have this weird electrical vibration. I'm on a different frequency. And so anyway, George went upstairs to bed, and Joe and Diana were sitting at the table with me, and Joe kind of leans forward and he says to me, tell me what you know about UFOs. I said, oh, you're interested in UFOs, huh? It's like, oh, you don't even know how fascinated I am with this subject. And so we moved back into, I said, well, okay, what do you want to know? And he started asking questions, and we kind of got up from the table and we moved into the kitchen part. It's a kitchen dining room area, and it's a modern house, and it had about maybe 24 inset lights in the ceiling. And he said, what really sparked your interest about this? And I told him about when I was 13 and seeing the flotilla of ships. I said, but what really sent me over the precipice was when I saw Close Encounters of the Third Kind when I was 17 years old. And at the end of that movie, I just sobbed. And my friends, Tim and Ray, my two closest friends, my longest friends, oldest friends, I've known them since I was 12 years old. They're like, oh my God, she's gone off the deep end. Because I said to them as we were leaving the theater, everything that you just saw on that screen is real. Everything. And they said, oh God, Annie, oh really? Have you ever heard of the phrase, it's only a movie? I'm like, no, you don't understand. I don't know how I know this, but everything that we just, and the tears are pouring down my face, and Tim's looking for tissues in the car, and I was a mess. I was so emotional. And when at the very end, when the tall white being came out, and she opens her arms the way that she did, I had a come to mama moment. I wanted to crawl out of my chair into her arms. And it just was overwhelming to me. So I'm describing this to Joe and Diana in their home, excuse me, at 2 o'clock in the morning. And when I opened my hands and I opened my arms, you heard the phrase, sparks fly from her fingertips. I shorted out every light in that house.
Oh my God.
Everything went zzz, zzz, zzz. It browned out, and then all the lights went out.
Oh my God.
And Joe's like, Joe, and we're in the dark. All we've got in the house is like moonlight coming through the windows. And Joe looks at Diana and says to her, wow, we're going to be talking about this for the rest of our lives. He's like, let me find a flashlight and go fix the circuit breaker. What just happened here? It was, yeah.
Oh my God.
Sadly, George was sleeping through that one. But I have this, I just don't really think I'm completely human. And that's okay. I'm mostly human.
You know what? Okay, if you came from can I say aliens? That's what I'm used to saying. Do you think, okay, so if you're an alien, do you think that any of those that are visiting and talking with you could be your part of your alien family?
They're my tribe. Yeah, they're my galactic family. I call them my family. I have always called them my family.
Oh.
I tell them all the time, I'd really appreciate some face-to-face time. I would. I got a lot of questions here. A lot. And I know that that's coming. I know that it is. I'm aware of that. And I'm aware that many, many thousands of people are going to hear this interview, and that some of them are going to say, oh, that poor woman is delusional.
Probably. Could be. It could be.
I just don't care, because I know what I know. And the experiences that I have had and that I have shared with other people are not to be denied. I had experiences out. I went to, oh my God, I had some great experiences last November when I went out to the Star Wars Symposium. I was lecturing at the request of Paula Harris, and that's her symposium.
Right.
And I had been a few months before at the one she did in Chicago. I mean, I love that woman. She is one of the bravest people on this planet. And I did my thing there, and it was very well received, and I had a lot of people around me. But of course, after a certain point, that drains your energy. And I said, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to miss one lecture, but I've got to go lay down. I have to go lay down. And where we were in the building, I went downstairs. I went to the lobby. So it was the Aquarius Casino is where we were having the conference. And we had a beautiful conference center. I mean, oh my God, it's all attached. But, it was a great spot. And we're going again. Oh, Noreen, you should come. Oh my God, you should come. You are close enough, woman. I'll buy your ticket. You should come. Oh my God, the people that I could introduce you to. Oh, you would love it, honey. And then I could gun you and love you.
So wait a minute. How come when you guys ever going to come to California? I know there's nothing here.
Well, I'm just waiting for California to fall off the planet. I mean, oh dear, what are we having? A flood, a fire, what is it this week?
Oh God, I hate it.
Oh my God, is there a volcano?
I hate California.
Nuts living out there.
I hate it.
Yeah, you're nuts. But anyway, I mean, I've been to California a few times in my life. Every time I go, there's an earthquake. I don't.
No way! You're kidding? Really?
Yeah, 1983. I'm in the shower. Naked as a jaybird, as vulnerable as you get. And I was in San Francisco. It was in 87.
It was 87.
Yeah, it was 87. And Coalinga was leveled.
Yes.
83, babe. I think it was 83.
Well, I remember 87.
87 sucked too. But it was the year, I had glass doors on both sides of the shower that were literally bowing in toward me. And I'm thinking, I'm going to be cut to ribbons. I'm cut to ribbons because I was shampooing my hair. So the shampoo was down on the bottom of the tub. The whole tub is moving. The glass doors are moving.
Oh my God!
My roommate is screaming outside in the suite.
It's terrible.
And I had nothing to hang on to.
Oh no, it's terrible.
So I just took my body and I tucked it down in the tub and I covered my head and hoped it didn't hurt too much when the doors exploded all over my body.
Oh my God! You're lucky they didn't explode.
I was very fortunate.
Yes.
I would have been cut to ribbons. And then it was over, and we went to have breakfast we were at a Sillamar on the Pacific Road. You know where that is?
Oh, Pacific Road, that's down south.
Yes, it is. It's beautiful. Oh my God, what a beautiful peninsula that is.
That's Monterey. Isn't Pacific Road Monterey? Oh God, Monterey is that is gorgeous.
Beyond gorgeous. It doesn't even belong on this planet.
No.
And so, and we went and found out that the whole town of Colonial, which was 3 hours southeast of where we are as the crow flies, was gone. It was gone. Right on the San Andreas Fault.
Yeah.
Gone. And so, and we felt it all the way that we felt it all the way to Monterey. But, you know, that aside, I avoid California like the plague. Not only do I not want to be on a plane in either direction for that many hours, you know, I went out for the premiere of the film, The Conjuring. I went out for the preview that Warner Brothers and New Line Cinema very graciously offered to fly me out along with Mrs. Warren from Connecticut to see the film prior to its opening. So we had a private screening of it about 3 months before it actually opened. And that's when they decided to, you know, just do a whole bunch of interviews with me and kind of put me out as the front person for the movie at that time. And so I did a lot of PR for them while I was out there, and I did WonderCon in Anaheim, and I was with James Wan when the MPAA rating came down, and they gave it an R instead of a PG-13, and I was part of the crew that peeled him off the ceiling. He was so upset. Like, oh, I have to take out of that movie. Make it a PG-13. And they're like, nothing. It's too scary. It's not kid stuff. Sorry.
I have to say, it scared me.
Yeah.
That's one of the best films I've seen.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, what's going on? What?
It just, bad.
What's going on with you and your story? Anything? The real Perron family haunting.
Well, first of all, I've done a whole series of interviews with Regina Meredith that have all been released now on Guyam TV, which is, you know, subscription TV, but it's internet. And they've got, like, I don't know how many millions of subscribers around the world. So I'm getting a lot more attention in terms of talking not just about spirits, but about ETs. And an awful lot of people gravitating to me for that because of that series of interviews that Regina Meredith did a beautiful job on. And her production staff, everybody at Guyam TV couldn't have been better. And I took a couple of trips out to Boulder, Colorado to do those interviews.
Oh, you were in the studio.
About 4 hours worth of interviews, and they pared it down to about 3 hours of shows.
Nice.
You know, but I'll tell you, to be lecturing and doing interviews and talking on the same network that hosts Deepak Chopra is a real feather in my cap, I have to say. I am so grateful to them for helping me get the word out. They're wonderful, wonderful people. I've also got, you know, and I can talk about it now because Sci-Fi did a release about the upcoming season of Paranormal Witness. And I believe that, you know, we did last year, we did a series of interviews with them, 5 members of my family.
Oh, and I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so I believe they're opening the season with the real story behind The Conjuring.
No way!
Yeah, so I got stuff. I got stuff going on.
Oh my God! Yeah, but when are they going to make a movie out of your story? The real story.
That's coming, sweetheart. I'm working on drafting the screenplay right now.
You are?
Yes.
Oh my God, that would be so fabulous.
A series of films. It's too much story to tell in 1 2-hour movie.
Oh,
there wasn't a single scene in The Conjuring that came directly from my books.
Nope.
We are going to tell the whole true story.
Which is better than... It's completely different from The Conjuring. And when your story is told, it's going to be absolutely fabulous. Your story is unbelievable.
I will maintain complete control over this production. Because that's how it's got to be. I've already told the people that I'm working with, not only stateside but overseas, I maintain complete control or no deal. I am not allowing another piece of fiction out into the world that I will have to spend the rest of my freaking life talking about to dispel the myths and to, there's so many discrepancies between the movie, excuse me, so many discrepancies between the actual movie and the books that it's like two different stories, but the people have the same names.
Exactly.
I'm going to make sure that it's done and that it's done right, and I will invest all of my time and energy into that project, all of it, to the exclusion of everything else, as soon as I finish this incredible book with George Lopez.
Oh, yeah, you're writing a book with George. Can you tell us anything about it?
Not much.
Oh, Andrea!
It's the kind of thing, where if you tell a little bit, you tell a lot. So what I will tell you is that it is a very interesting, very eclectic mix of fact and fiction. George Lopez is brilliant.
Yeah, he is.
I have a connection with him in mind that I've never shared with another person. He is, I've never met anybody like him. I've never met anybody as brilliant as him, and I've met geniuses. He's kind of to a whole nother level. And he, over the last 25 years, had this story idea kicking around in his head and gelling. And about a little more than a year ago, we had one of our almost all-nighter conversations where he told me this whole story. And when he was done, and I was aghast at what I had just heard, I said, "You have to write this down." And he said, "I'm not a writer. I'm an artist. And I do review, and I do investigations, and I do this, and I do that, but I'm not a writer." I said, "Just as well as you speak with the command that you have of the English language, I want you to sit in front of your computer and at least give me a skeleton of this story." And he agreed to. And it took about 6 months to get all of it out of him, and I got way more than a skeleton. In terms of polish and all of that, taking the story and turning it into a novel, I'm the one that's responsible for that. But he's worked right alongside me day in and day out, often in the wee hours of the morning. Sometimes we start working at 11 o'clock in the morning, at 11 o'clock at night, and go till 2 in the morning, and then pick up when we've got our first coffee at 8 o'clock the next morning. We've been putting hours and hours and hours a day into this for a year. And it has been a true labor of love. This is one of the most, I'm not even going to qualify it. This is the most fascinating story that I have ever read. And I have read thousands upon thousands of books in my life. And I have never read anything like this. And Noreen, this is going to hit the market like a nuclear bomb. People are not going to know how to wrap their minds around this. They're not going to know what to make of it. George and I laugh all the time and say, "Oh yeah, okay, we're at the part where our readers are going to heave the book against a wall and then crawl out of bed, go pick it up off the floor, curse it, and take it back to bed with them."
Well, what's the topic? What's it on?
I can't really tell you that.
Oh, Andrea, is it paranormal? Is it UFOs?
There's a little bit of supernatural stuff about it, but not much. Mostly, it's a psychological drama. It's a mystery. It's it's ripped straight out of history.
Is it fictional or non-fictional?
Both.
No way, really?
Yeah, it's a divine dance of both.
Oh my God. Do you think that you and George would come on my show and talk about your book?
Heck yeah, honey, anytime.
Oh, I would love for you both to come on for that. Since you're both involved in that, that would be awesome.
We're really close now to we're putting on a lot of the finishing touches now, and we're doing our last work through, and then we're going to do a read through, and then we submit it to the publisher. So what we're shooting for is to have this in the publication process before we leave for Rhode Island, and we leave for Rhode Island on the 15th of July. So we're right down to the wire here now. Because I want, while we're doing the Ocean State Paracon and doing our thing with John Zappis and all of our friends up in New England, I want this book being published so that we can legitimately talk about it and take orders for it right at the Paracon.
Yeah, actually, I'm showing the banner and and also the banner with you at the Ocean State. Tell the viewers about that.
Oh, it's the most fabulous Paracon that happens anywhere in this country, any time of year. Last year was absolutely splendid. It occurs at the Assembly Theater, which is like a second home to me. I spent 20 plus years as a cast member of the Theater Company of Rhode Island, and that was our theater. Plus I grew up in that theater. That was my Harrisville, Rhode Island is where the farm is. So having the Paracon there is like having it in the epicenter of the paranormal world. That's like the newest, biggest location that people know about now. And even though, of course, we tell people, leave the people at the farm alone, don't go up to the farm, just stay right in town with us. Bathsheba Sherman's gravestone is a spit away from where we're having the Paracon. People walk back and forth and go visit her gravesite and put pennies and flowers there for her, which I think is lovely. It's right at the Assembly Theater on Mill Pond on East Avenue in Harrisville, Rhode Island. And it's the 18th and the 19th of July, Saturday and Sunday, from noon to 7, both days. It's $5 a head to get in. Tell me what Paracon in this country charges $5 to get in and talk to and hobnob with and listen to lectures by the likes of Chris DeCesare and John Zappis and Joe Chen. And I mean, if you look at the banner, George is there, I'm there, Kathleen, my friend Kathleen Cody from Dark Shadows, she's coming. Maria and Bob Schmidt are coming from the Seven Sisters Haunted Inn in Ocala. I mean, it's a cast of thousands. It is amazing, and everybody is so open, and it's partially indoors and partially outdoors. All the lectures happen inside the beautiful theater, absolutely stunningly beautiful haunted theater. They're running an investigation in the theater on Saturday night. That's sold out already, though. That sold out really quickly.
Wow.
It's a 2-day event that is second to none. I planned my whole entire schedule this year around attending the Ocean State Paracon.
Wow.
Ken DaCosta and Rise Up Paranormal, that's his group, sponsor this event every year. Last year was the first year that we did it at the Assembly Theater, and now we're going back. This year, every year, he does it as a charity event. And this year it's for the Wounded Warrior Project.
Oh, yes, that's...
we raise thousands and thousands of dollars for the charity of our choice, or his choice and his team's choice. Rise Up Paranormal is one of the preeminent groups in the country. Ken DaCosta at the helm, but one of the best teams of people that you could even imagine. I mean, so talented, their intellect is second to none. Their sensitivity levels. He's got people who cover all the gamuts in Rise Up. Tiffany Rice sometimes even goes with them. She's a medium, and she goes with them on some of their investigations. They do incredible work. I mean, you know as well as I do that if somebody's in trouble and they need help and you call for an investigative team, it's a crapshoot. You don't know if you're calling a team in whose ink isn't even dry on their t-shirts yet, or if you're calling in seasoned veterans who know exactly what they're doing. Now, there are no such things as experts in the paranormal.
No.
That doesn't exist.
Exactly.
But this is the closest you'll ever come to real experts in the field. Keith and Carl Johnson are going
God,
to be there
I love them.
near paranormal. Keith is like a brother to me. I just love this man so much. He was the first person that came to the farm to help us.
Yeah.
He's the one that told the Warrens about us. We still don't know how he ended up at that house. He said my mother called him. She said, I never called anybody.
No.
This was cosmic. This was supposed to happen.
Oh. Wow.
And, so I mean, there's a lot of mysteries around that, but Keith and Carl are going to be there. Keith and Sandra, near Paranormal. Keith and Sandra Johnson, that's their team. And they're going to be there. I mean, this is a spectacular event, Maureen. This is the kind of thing that people come from, not just miles around. They come from states around. We've got people coming in all the way from Texas, from Canada, from, as far south here as Florida. It draws. It really draws.
That's
I mean,
huge.
If you're into the paranormal, this is the place to be on that weekend.
Oh my God, you guys are going to have so much fun.
Oh yeah, we have a blast. We don't sleep. We really survive on catnaps and coffee for that whole weekend. Of course, I've been living that way for 7 or 8 years now. I'm used to it. But, I mean, it really is. It's unlike anything else. But I will tell you that there's going to be a very, very special event that occurs, a private event that is going to occur that weekend. And I am taking a group of people to an undisclosed location where we are going to a known location for as close an encounter as you can imagine, and we're going back to ask them to meet us there again. A very small group, and we will film it.
Oh my God, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I didn't hear that. Holy God, that's going to be so crazy awesome, Andrea.
Now, everything transpires the way that I think that it will, I won't even need to put out my file of photographs out to the public. I'll just load the film footage up on YouTube, and that'll be that. And disclosure will be done.
Oh my God. Oh. Will you let everybody...
The next time I say to you, Noreen, I've got some stuff to talk about on your show, you'll know I'm serious as a heart attack, huh?
Oh my God, can we... if you get those pictures and if you get that evidence, please show it on my show, will you? Mm-hmm. Oh my God, how exciting!
I'm going to have my producer. He's bringing all of his HD equipment. I'm going to have about probably... It'd be about a dozen people. Every one of them either a contactee or an abductee.
Oh, that's interesting. Wow. Are you getting a lot of emails and contacts from people who are abductees and contactees? Yeah. You are, huh?
Yeah, a lot. And I welcome them, and I try to, to soothe them and calm them, because a lot of these people are still scared. These things happened to them often decades ago. But there's purpose and reason in that. You would be amazed how many people who have gone into the Air Force have a story from their childhood, and they didn't know why they felt compelled to go into the Air Force, but they did.
Oh, really?
And George is one of them.
Really?
George became a Russian linguist and helped break codes and do what needed to be done to end the Cold War in the early 80s.
Has George been abducted?
What?
Has George been abducted?
I'm going to let George tell that story. You know, to me, George has had some experiences in his life that I think are so compelling that I want him to tell them. So when we release the book, we'll come on your show one night.
Okay.
And we'll not just talk about the book, but you can ask George himself about experiences that he's had.
All right.
And then I won't steal his thunder. I'll let him. And I wouldn't want to. Not remember all the details. You know, I mean, they're impaled in his mind, so he can recount them in a way that I cannot. In the same way that he can't tell my stories for me. But I think that you would be fascinated to know his story. And the reason that we're going to this undisclosed location in Rhode Island is because a dear friend of mine who had an experience there when he was 13 or 14 years old, where he actually went on the vessel. This is well documented. Police from 3 towns in Rhode Island and 1 in Connecticut, and the state police chased this vessel.
Oh my God!
Seen many people, and he went on board, landed right in front of him, hovered right in front of him. He was invited on board. He could see the beings right through the windows. I had an experience just recently, the last time I was in Georgia, up to visit my mother and get my last van load of crap out of the house. I had a vehicle manifest right over the house that looked like a long tube, only it looked like, a pencil that's been sharpened. It's got, it comes to a point, it's very tapered on the end.
Uh-huh.
You have the point. Well, picture a vessel like this, and it would have been like a pencil sharpened on both ends with the lead snapped off.
Oh, yeah.
There were like all triangles coming down to the point. It was like a series of triangles on both ends. This thing, I'm standing out in the yard, walking the dog. I mean, as mundane as it gets. And it manifested right over the house as a solid object, not more than 10,000 feet above me.
Oh my God.
And as it started to disappear, I could see right through it. I could see the beings inside it.
Really? Can you give a description of what you saw?
No, they were too far away, but they were clearly humanoid. 2 arms, 2 legs. That's all I can tell you.
Now, Andrea, the description that you gave of the ship and all the other people that you have spoken to, have you asked them as well? Have they given you a same description of what you have of the ship? Are all their descriptions different when they talk about a spaceship?
Yep. I get a lot of different ones. I see a lot of people see the long white tubular ones that look kind of fuzzy white like linen.
Yeah.
And I've been told from very reliable sources, as high up as it gets on planet Earth, that those vessels are not actually machines. They are organic living beings. So there are beings living inside of a ship that's a living being. And that's why they appear so fuzzy. They don't appear solid because they're not solid. But I have seen, God, how many different kinds of vehicles have I seen?
Really?
A dozen different kinds of vehicles, yeah.
Now, Andrea, are these ships coming in and out of our dimension? Or are they here?
Out of our dimension. They're coming in and out of our atmosphere.
I mean, our atmosphere. So they can do that?
Yes,
They
can manifest at will. They're all around us, omnipresent, Noreen. I'm not kidding you. You know me. I'd rather swallow my own tongue than lie to anybody. I believe in karma. I don't lie. What I'm seeing is we are completely surrounded.
Oh my God. Hey, Andrea.
If they wanted to hurt us, they could have done it a very long time ago. They don't want to hurt us. And I just recently saw, a couple of months ago, I don't know how real it is, because it's the internet, you just don't know, but it looked pretty real. Some essay that Stephen Hawking had written about the aliens, and yes, they're here, but don't talk to them. And I'm like, don't talk to them? Really? Really? Are you kidding me? We have conscious contact with beings from other planets, and we shouldn't communicate with them? Why? And apparently, according to the article that I read, he said that they're not all that they have ulterior motives, that not all of their motives are good. Well, that's not been my experience. And I'm not buying into it. I don't care how brilliant the man is. And I don't care. Oh.
So, Andrea, how come some people have a terrible experience where they're experimented on, and some of these horror stories that we've heard, and then others have no issues at all with them? Why is that?
I don't know. I wish that I could answer that. I do know that I do know that there's at least one race that has been routinely visiting the planet that has taken terrible liberties, not just with human beings, but with animals as well. And I do know that there are other races, not just us, but other races there that have told them to stop it.
Really?
You don't hear about abductions the way you used to. You don't.
No, you don't. Why is that?
Because they've been chastised for doing that and for hurting people. But I have also, from very high, reliable sources, been told that when they first started coming in droves to this planet and making contact with us after the Roswell incident, and even prior to that, that agreements were struck at that point, that disclosure would come about this from our government, and agreements were made that they were allowed to take people and to study us in exchange for technology that they had to share with us. Now, I have no way of accurately verifying that, but I'll tell you that the people that I've gotten this from there are no higher authorities on this planet. And so I have to really look at this. Am I angry at the federal government for keeping the most important information that has ever existed in the course of human history under wraps, because they think that we have to be spoon-fed like babies eating pablum, that we don't have? They have no respect for our intellect, our ability to discern, our ability to emotionally or psychologically process anything. And so we have been jerked around for 7 decades. They started coming to this planet in droves when we started blowing off bombs, because those bombs not only had an adverse effect on our planet and our own atmosphere, they had an adverse effect in the universe. And as Paul Hellyer, the Right and Honorable Paul Hellyer, the former Defense Minister of Canada, has said publicly, they looked down on us and said, oh no, the children are playing with matches. And that's why they're here, to try to keep us from blowing ourselves up, to try to enlighten us as quickly as possible so that we can evolve as a human race, as the predominant race on this planet, so that we stop destroying ourselves, that we stop destroying every other life form on this planet, and that we stop destroying the planet that is our home. Mother Earth is our home. We don't have much time left, Noreen. How often do you hear a leading story on the news anymore about the Fukushima Daiichi plant, where 3 out of 4 of the nuclear reactors are in complete meltdown and 30 million gallons a day of cesium is pouring into the Pacific Ocean?
No.
Hear any more stories about that?
No.
Because they can't fix it. There's not a damn thing they can do about it, Noreen. Nothing they can do about it. They can't stop it. They broke it and they can't fix it.
Oh my God.
And the Pacific Ocean connects to the Indian Ocean, connects to the Caribbean, connects to the Atlantic. There's one ocean on this planet with a lot of different names. We're in deep trouble.
Yeah.
We're in deep trouble.
And these beings that you speak with every day, is there anything that they can help our country with that? Can they help?
Yes, they're already helping, honey. They're already helping to the extent that they are able. But until our government does what it needs to do to come clean with the people of this country and the people of the world, until there is such a sea change in consciousness and awareness, they are not going to intercede. It's up to us. It is up to us. We, individuals, are the point of disclosure. We, the ones that are having conscious contact, are the points of disclosure. We are the ones that must hold the federal officials to their feet to the fire. I don't even think that the president has this kind of information at his disposal. He's in a temporary position.
Yeah.
I don't think that members of Congress have it. Have you heard about what Steve Bassett is doing? They had the citizen hearing on disclosure at the press club last year, and that was 35 or 40 hours worth of, the top ufology people in the world were there to testify, and they filmed all of it. And last November, Steve Bassett, the head of PRG, put a whole group of DVDs together of the citizens hearing and hand-delivered them to every single member of Congress, and is doing, a mass effort, a massive tweet storm to get their attention. Pay attention to what's going on. You imbeciles are arguing about stuff that has absolutely no relevance to the human race whatsoever, while everything of any import is going on around you. And there are people in Congress right now, the creationists, who are saying, the world's only 6,000 years old. God created, heaven, Adam and Eve. And I'm like, oh my God. And people voted for them. Oh my God, people voted for them and put them in positions where they could be supremely stupid. Where they could not only just be stupid on their own, but that their stupidity could affect massive quantities of people. We've got a lot of work to do, and we don't have a lot of time left, Noreen. We don't.
Oh my God, that's awful, Andrea. But Andrea, it's not only that, honey. It's the horrible things that they're doing to animals in China, and they have that celebration that they're having, and I heard they skinned 10,000 dogs alive for this celebration and eat the dogs. I mean, this kind of crap is going on all over the world. It's absolutely horrible. What are these people, these beings that you speak to? Do they know of the horrors that are going?
They know of all of it. They know of all of it.
And they can't.
Everything. I can send them to any single individual at any time, and they know who they're going to and where that person is. They are so far advanced and so evolved. They are spiritual beings. They are so connected that we can't even conceive of their connectivity. There are moments, Noreen, my darling, when I look at the situation on this planet, still, even in spite of my knowledge that they're here to help us help ourselves, and I feel a sense of despair and hopelessness that makes me wish that I was completely void of knowledge, that I didn't know anything, because I know too much. And sometimes knowing too much is a curse. And there are times that I feel cursed, that I don't feel blessed by my ability to discern things multidimensionally, that I don't feel blessed by the experiences that I've had in my life, because I feel incapable of affecting positive change. And then there are times like this past week where so many extraordinary and wonderful things happened that were positive and progressive and forward thinking and forward moving. And I said to my dad, maybe, just maybe, I'm going to dare to hope this week. And he said, that's the spirit, kid.
Oh.
I could have knocked him over. I can take him.
Oh, your dad looks...
Just some respect. He's my father.
Oh, God. He's such a sweet-looking man.
Yeah, well, don't let that fool you.
Oh.
But he's not so sweet if somebody messes with his own. Trust me when I tell you.
Oh.
Trust me when I tell you. Don't ever mess with one of his daughters. Trust me when I tell you.
Oh, God. Wow, Andrea. Anything else, honey, you want to share with the viewers?
Well, I've pretty much filled you in on everything, except that I will be doing a panel discussion and lecturing with one of my brightest stars in the firmament, somebody that I think the world of, Miss Anne Rice. I am invited to the Undead Con over Halloween weekend, which is ball in New Orleans, and George and I will be attending and lecturing on a panel with her.
Oh, my God.
Yowza.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
And I'm hanging out with Zappis and...
Oh, John Zappis.
Yeah, you know, the Zappis man, I don't think he's completely human either. In fact, I'm pretty sure he's one of them.
Really? Oh, my God.
And my haunted collector, my godfather of the paranormal. He and George have actually known each other well for more than a decade. I've only known John personally for a few years, but you'd never know that. I mean, our connection is really eternal.
I know.
He knew about us and our family. You know, Ed Warren is his uncle.
Yes.
And so John knew about us since he was, knee-high to a grasshopper. He's only a few years older than I am, so, we're contemporaries. And his family, George and I are going to go stay with John and his wife Cheryl and their family in Connecticut before we go on up to Rhode Island. And so gracious of them to allow George Lopez into their house.
Oh, God, you guys are going to have so much fun. Oh, my God.
It's shameful how much fun we have. Laugh and laugh and laugh until our sides hurt. Some of the happiest people I've ever met in my life are absolutely obsessed with death. I swear to God, paranormal people, para people, are so happy. It's just amazing. If you want to know somebody who's really happy, find somebody who's obsessed with death.
Oh my God.
And then you find somebody that totally gets it. It's just great. It's just great.
Wow. Let's see. I have your books up. Do you want to talk about your books that are for sale?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Anybody that wants to get, and I'm going to forewarn people again, for anybody that's listening to this for the first time. If you want to read a series of scary stories, do not buy my books. My books are not that. They are a chronicle of events that are a collective memoir involving a cast of characters, living and dead, that are extensive. It's a thick, long trilogy, dense, complicated, convoluted, and if you've got the courage to get into that story, it'll scare the daylights out of you, but it will also expand your mind in ways that you can't even fathom. And I tell people all the time, please don't buy my books unless you're ready to read them. Please don't. And then say, oh, I thought this was something else. There are thousands of books out there that you can take in the bathroom with you and have the literally, scared out of you while you're sitting there. But are not mine. This is a memoir. It's a collective memoir that details and chronicles all of the events that occurred prior to us moving to the farm, all the way to us leaving the farm. It covers more than 10 years. It's a very in-depth, very emotional, spiritual journey that will leave you changed permanently. Now, if you're ready for that, go ahead and order Volume 1. Amazon's got them. You can get them directly from my publisher at authorhouse.com. Barnes & Noble carries all of them. Books A Million carries all of them. You can order them online. That's quick and easy. Or you can find them in a lot of standing, brick and mortar bookstores. They're pretty much everywhere all over the world now.
And now what about your radio show every week with George?
That's my favorite 2 hours every week. You can find us on Blog Talk Radio. We're in the Dead Air Paranormal Radio family. George founded the network about 8 years ago, and he does a show on Monday nights called Primetime Paranormal. He and I do A World Awakening together on Tuesday nights from 9 to 11 Eastern. Just like me or follow me on Facebook, and the link will be there like clockwork every single Tuesday. Or you can find us on YouTube. You can find us on iPod or iTunes. And we also have a page, A World Awakening, on Facebook as well. And I also posted the links on, if you're on my book page, my book and author page, House of Darkness, House of Light, on Facebook. You can find them there. You can follow me on Twitter, and I put them up there too. So it's 2 hours of some of the best radio that goes out on the airwaves. I say that with great pride and no ego. I credit George with this. He's just so on his game. He's one of the very best hosts going. You've listened to the show.
Oh yeah, the both of you are absolutely brilliant. And I would love for one of your friends to come and visit me and give me a brain with knowledge and be able to speak like you. I would give anything in the world to have that. You are absolutely brilliant, and everybody just loves listening to you. They could hear you talk for hours, Andrea. You're absolutely brilliant, and you and George together are just unbelievable. Your show is unbelievable. The two of you are so intelligent. It's crazy. I would love to have your knowledge. Send them to me for that. Can I have that, please?
Well, there's this kind of and people talk about it all the time, this real explosive energy between us, and whether it be if we're just working one-to-one, working on the book, or if we're lecturing together, doing the radio show, whatever we're doing, there's this vibe, this frequency that we seem to lock into and lock on, and it touches people. It does. I mean, you've seen what happens to my Facebook page after the show.
Oh, yeah.
I spend an hour or more just fielding comments, responses from people who have listened to the show and are just over the moon. It literally affects them physically, mentally, psychologically, spiritually, emotionally. They are deeply affected by what we do every week.
Yeah.
And I can't think of,
you guys are the best talk show there is. I mean, the best. So anybody that's listening to this show, please, it's unbelievable. The topics and the guests and oh my God, it's just wonderful. That show is absolutely wonderful. Oh boy, Andrea. Well, down for number 6.
Down for number 6, lucky number 7 next. Why don't we do it when we get back from the Ocean State Paracon?
Yeah.
And I'll have George come on with me.
Okay.
And we'll tell you about everything. And if we've got some film footage to share, babe, you get it first.
Oh my God, thank you so much, Andrea. I'm so excited. And again, thank you again for being on my show. It's, as always, it's a pleasure and an honor to have you on my show, and I'm always here for you. You know that. You've got your own playlist, and this show will be added to your playlist. So anybody can go to my channel and find your playlist with all the shows that we've done together.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, sweetheart.
Oh, my God.
I adore you, Maureen. You're a true friend. You're a star sister to me. You are, your heart, your kindness, everything that you bring to my life enriches me immeasurably, and I truly love you.
Oh, Andrea, thank you so much, and I love you as well. And listen, you've got some fantastic events. This rest of the year for you is just going to be crazy awesome, and have a wonderful time and safe trips, honey.
Thank you so much, sweetheart.
Thank you.
Please give my love to all of your listeners and the people that support you. I encourage all of them to continue to do exactly what you keep doing, because you are making a difference in the world, Maureen. You are. And by all of them participating and sharing these shows and putting the word out, we're all working together in tandem to make this a better world.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you so much, honey. Good night and God bless you. Thank you.
Good night, sweetheart.
Good night.
I love you.
I love you too. Good night.
Bye.
Bye. Oh my God, I love Andrea to death. Hold on, let me. She is just absolutely awesome. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. It's always an honor and a pleasure to have Andrea on the show. Her knowledge is, she's unbelievable. She's so intelligent. So I don't know. I've got another laptop open. I don't know if I can get this over here. Hold on for a second. Do you guys want to do... I don't have much time. I only got a couple of minutes to do shout-outs. Hold on for a second. I don't know if I'll be able to do this. Hold on. I doubt if I'll be able to. Hold on. Let me see if I can get in here. I don't know. All right, hold on. Nah, I'm not going to be able to. Darn it. Okay, well, let me see. Okay, I can... Let me get this over here. I don't know if I can pull this out or not. Okay, let me do some shout-outs. Alexandria Violet, Joe Moyer, Janet W., Lord Gold 1, Yvonne Bissett, Twister Dar, Diane Hilbert, Aaron Bilkey, I'm born in September. Butterfly Kisses, Susie Farrell, Cynthia Starlett, Lynn Bowling. Boy, this is really tough on this computer. Oh, come on. Michael Allen Phillips, Travis Williams. I haven't seen you in a long time. TYB, Julie Allman, Maria Amador, Medra Knight. Hi. Anybody else? I know. Daryl James. Oh, Daryl loves Andrea. Oh my gosh, I'm sweating in here. It's so hot. I don't know. Was Dave? I know David Coffin was in. Sean was in. Kat was in. To see Jay was in. Colette Fletcher, Smokey Harris. Oh, hi, Smokey. Anybody else want to shout out? Oh my gosh. I hope you enjoyed the show. Andrea will come back. My show is a forum for her. Anytime she wants to do her show, it's always open for Andrea. And that'll be exciting to have George join her as well next time. Maybe one of these days Zaphis will join them too. That would be fun. Okay, guys, I gotta go because I'm over my 2 hours. Good night. Oh, Sean, there you are, Sean. Okay, everybody, I want to say good night. I'm over my 2 hours, and thank you again for joining me. Hey, don't forget, Thursday, it's going to be an awesome show with Paul Enos, and he's going to talk about this extremely haunted, demonic house that he's written a book on. So I'll see you on Thursday. And everybody, again, thank you so much for joining the show tonight. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. Please give the show a like. I'd appreciate it. And I'll see you guys all next week. Thanks. Oh, Wipers 86. Okay, everybody. Good night. I love you. Today's Sunday. Well, have a great week. See you on Thursday. Thanks so much. Love you guys. Good night.